So, what happened in the Trojan War and how does this relate to modern warfare? The Trojan War was an ancient form of conflict happening around 3,000 years ago. In this, the Greeks and Trojans both adopted complex strategies, which aren't actually too dissimilar from the ones of the modern day. However, with advancements in technology, adjustments have had to be made to fit the modern world. So there are two causes to the Trojan War. One is Homer's mythological cause. So in this, Eris, the goddess of discord, apparently came to Peleus' and Thetis' wedding after not being invited and came with a golden apple. She proposed that this golden apple belongs to the most beautiful goddess. Athena, Hera, and Aphrodite, all thinking that they were the most beautiful, stepped forward. They went to ask Zeus. Zeus, however, he didn't respond because he didn't want to cause any arguments or trouble on Mount Olympus. Next, they went to Paris, who was a Trojan prince. They all bribed Paris. So Hera offered him power over Europe and Asia. Aphrodite promised him the most beautiful woman in the land. And finally, Athena offered him battle skills and wisdom. After a long think, Paris chose Aphrodite and went to claim his reward, which was Helen. So they went to collect Helen and stole him from Menelaus in Sparta and fled back to Troy. This angered the Greeks as they were all in alliance and was Homer's cause of the Trojan War. The other cause was trade routes. So Troy is in a geographical position that it controls a narrow stretch into the Black Sea, so it can basically see everything which goes in and out of it. However, it also has a northeasterly prevailing wind. This often washes ships up on the shores of Troy. Troy then can tax these ships being on the shores and then bringing money to its economy. So what really happened in the Trojan War? So after the Greeks were provoked, either by Paris stealing Helen or a desire for trade routes, they sailed to Troy and completely surrounded its perimeter. Then they were doing fighting for 10 years until Odysseus had the idea to construct a giant wooden horse, which was known as the Trojan horse, and him and 30 other elite Greek soldiers would hide in this. Every other Greek would flee Troy's beaches, so they would think that this Trojan horse was one final parting gift. So the Trojans then saw this final parting gift and thought to bring it in. They then had a massive party, and when everyone was either drunk or asleep, they'd all flee the Trojan horse and brutally murder all the men and capture the women and children of Troy. So how real was the Trojan War? Well, it definitely happened. However, in Homer's version, all the gods and mythical creatures weren't obviously present, and this was what he adapted his story to be read by more people. The Trojan horse, well, although it might not have been an actual massive horse with Greek soldiers in it, it could be some sort of metaphor for a form of battering ram to purge the walls of Troy. The most notable artifact of the Trojan War was the mask of Agamemnon, found in Mycenae. However, it wasn't actually a death mask of Agamemnon. So, some common themes and strategies which relate to modern warfare is the strategic misdirection and deception. So, in the Trojan War, obviously they had the horse. In modern warfare, they would now use ghost armies, which include inflatable tanks, wooden artillery, and heated mannequins, which give the illusion of an army being present. Also, they can use low transmitting radios and then set up radios which are highly transmitting. This also gives the illusion of them being in one place rather than the other. Another strategy which they would use is they'd often incorporate army bases within terrain or nature to stay hidden. So siege warfare was when the Trojans the Greeks surrounded Troy, and this today is still being done. However, now it would be done by drones. So drones can do a number of three things. They can either blow up supply trucks coming in, not letting any trade or resources in. They can also go on assassination missions, killing a key person or leader. And finally, they can destroy public supplies such as water supplies, silos, or power plants. So, also the causes of wars today could also be similar. These, such as the Suez Crisis in 1956 and the Iranian War, these are done basically by wanting control over trade routes, which the Greeks wanted. And it still shows how trade is such a big part of the modern world. So, a new strategy which we could develop to be in modern warfare is the faux retreat. This was when all the Greeks fled the shores of Troy and only left a few supplies to seem as a gift. This could be done by leaving, again, supplies, however, potentially linking them up to some sort of landmine to explode in the enemy's face as one final parting gift. In conclusion, the Trojan War was obviously a very ancient war, but the tactics from this are actually relatively similar to the ones of the modern day, and it's more than people would think. Thank you.